Can you beat Silksong using only the harpoon? Well, no, it's all the way up in the Citadel. How are you supposed to get there before anything? Well, what if you started the game with the harpoon? Could you do it then? Well, that's what I aim to do today. There are 3 simple rules for this challenge. First, I'll start the game with the Clawline ability and a single silk heart. Second, I can only deal damage using the harpoon and the harpoon alone. I can still use my needle for little things like hitting levers and breaking walls, but that's it. And third, I cannot take advantage of already having Clawline to skip anything. I can still use it to get around faster, but until I beat Trobio, I can't use it for progression. And that about sums it up. Let's jump in. The game starts off fairly normally, except that with Clawline already unlocked, I can get around much faster. So we progress through Moss Grotto as usual until we reach Moss Mother. And it is here that it occurs to me how difficult this run is going to be. Because here's the thing, harpooning takes a silk and gives a silk, meaning I can almost never profit silk. So healing is mostly out of the equation for this entire run. I say almost, however, because there is a bug in this version of the game that allowed some enemies to give 2 silk. So in some rare cases, I can profit enough silk to heal, but this is few and far between. The only real way to heal in this run is to die, collect your cocoon, and make sure you don't miss a single harpoon, because otherwise you'll waste a silk and be stuck at 1 off. So with that in mind, this run will require me to do most bosses and arenas without taking much damage at all, and I have to deal with the inconsistencies that come with dealing all of my damage using only the harpoon. So if you were wondering, hey, this run doesn't seem all that bad, well, it is much worse than you think. With all that said, let's get back to Moss Mother. As the first boss in the game, she is super easy, so we'll take her out with no problem. So there we go, the first boss done. And it does not bode well that I already died to Moss Mother, as things will only be getting way more difficult. So now we get into the real game. We progress through the marrow as usual, except normally you pogo this beast fly to get up to this area quickly. But since we can't pogo, we have to do a jankified version with the harpoon. So now we work our way up into Moss Home to get the Silk Spear, which we will only be using twice in this entire run, which is once to get past here, and once more to release the Bell Beast, which starts our second boss. Surely she won't be that bad, right? Right? Well, actually, yeah, I only ended up dying twice, and it was actually really fun to try and counter her attacks with the harpoon, because obviously you aren't supposed to have it at this point in the game, so it makes for a rather unique experience on the earlier bosses. With the Bell Beast quelled, we get our first real silk heart, which means I remove the temporary one I gave myself at the start of the game. And then we get to ring our first bell. We will need all 5 in this run, since we are going to the Citadel through Blasted Steps and the Last Judge. Next, we work our way through Deep Docks, and on our way to Swift Step, we encounter our biggest problem on this run. Arenas. It's already hard enough trying to do bosses mostly no-hit, but when there are multiple enemies ganging up on you, it becomes exponentially harder. Thankfully, this arena isn't too bad, and only takes 3 attempts to do. But this will definitely not be the case for other arenas. So after that little arena, we can get the wonderful Swift Step. This lets us immediately run down to our next boss, Lace, who, as you can imagine, will prove to be quite difficult. Let's go! Woohoo! Okay. Yeah, she was definitely the hardest challenge yet, but that wasn't too bad at all. So with Lace out of our way, we get to ring our second bell. From here, it's into Far Fields to get our Drifter's Cloak. We accept the Seamstress's quest and farm spines, and once we have enough, we save quit and turn them in. Now on our way out, we would usually have to fight the 4th chorus, but instead, we can just run and jump and then harpoon to the left. Now before you say, hey, this is only possible because you have Clawline, it's actually possible without it too. Now we float our way on up to Greymoor, where we do a little skip, that's also possible without Clawline mind you, and ring our 3rd bell. Then we encounter our second arena, which is definitely the easiest fight in this entire run. And there we go, first try. And yes, I am celebrating doing a very easy arena on my first try, because this will be the only fight I beat on my first try in this entire challenge. and immediately after one fight, we go straight into another, as it's time for Morwing, who swiftly claps us. But this time we go in with full health and have a proper battle. And there we go, another surprisingly easy boss. With Morwing dead, we can move on into Belheart. And look at all these peeps just hanging around. Nothing weird going on here. So we run left into Shellwood to make our way to the next ability, Clean Grip. But on our way, we have yet another arena to fight, and this one isn't so nice. So in terms of number of deaths, that was actually the hardest challenge yet. But now, we can make our way to Clean Grip. We do a funny little skip here that requires spamming the Ganama to lure this guy up and bounce off of him to get up here. This can be done with a pogo too, by the way. Now we just quickly work our way around, and we pick up the Clean Grip. With wall jump acquired, we run to the right into Belvane, where we explode on this idiot! You run to the right into Belvane, where we encounter our biggest challenge yet. Widow. Yes! Oh my goodness gracious, bro. And there we go. That took 10 attempts to do, which isn't too bad, but that was by far the hardest thing yet. With her dead, we acquire the Needle-In and ring our 4th bell. Then we go straight into Belheart to upgrade our needle, and run left to Shellwood once more to ring our 5th bell. Now, it's almost time to reach the Citadel. We traverse through blasted steps as normal, where we do a simplified version of this skip that is, once again, possible without Clawline. We pick up this bench, and we run to our next boss, the Last Judge. go! Woo! I played that really, really carefully in there. Now we finally enter Act 2, Citadel of Song. Let's just go ahead to Clockwork Dancers. They shouldn't be that bad since on my first playthrough, they were actually one of the easier bosses for me. Or so I thought, because I ended up dying again, and again, and again. And again, 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 and just look at this. Watch this. How is this even allowed? This shouldn't be possible. This is cheating. But finally, something happened. Which is that I died again. But then I died. No, just watch. There we go. Wow, that was hard. Whoo! Say bye. So that took almost an hour to do. But now with them dead, we briefly pop down in the Cogwork core so we can make our way to the Whispering Vaults. Here, we encounter the hardest arena yet. Well, there you go. That was about 20 minutes reduced into 30 seconds. But with that done, we quickly run through Whispering Vaults to pick up some pale oil to upgrade our needle once again. After picking it up and running down to the Grand Bellway, I realized I never bought the Bellheart Bellway, which means I have to run all the way back there from the Marrow, which doesn't take too long, but still. We upgrade the needle again, and this time we buy the Bellway to make our way back to the Citadel quickly. In here, we fight our next boss. There we go. My first tool. Honestly, I could have just left it on the ground. I don't know what I'm doing. Surprisingly, that one wasn't actually all that bad. Now, this is where we would run left to get Clawline, but since we already have it, we can just drop down and make our way to the Vault Keeper's Melody. With this in tow, we run straight up to Cardinia's to learn it. Now, it's back to Cogwork Core once again to ascend to the top for the Architect's Melody. And I managed to do it all without dying once somehow, which is impressive for somebody who suffers as much from skill issues as I do. And there we have it, our second melody. Now we just need one more melody, and we can reach the cradle to finish the game. But for those of you who know where the last melody is, you know what's next. And for those of you who don't know what's about to happen, let's just say this run is far, far from over. We make our way through High Halls as normal, and then we arrive at the absolute most horrible challenge in the entire run. The High Halls Arena. And I'm not going to make you sit here and watch me die over and over again, because I realized rather quickly that I'm definitely going to need to get some upgrades if I don't want to sit here for dozens of hours. So the first thing I do is run to Mount Fae to get the Phaedon Cloak, which will get me a lot of extra mobility in fights, and also allow me to get into the special room right above the arena where I can permanently disable Claw Maidens from spawning, which will make the arena way easier. At Mount Fae, I skip a lot of the climb using a cheeky little cocoon skip here, and then ascend the rest of the way up and grab the cloak. Then, I decided I should probably get a couple extra masks, so I collect several mask shards from all across the map. And then, I collect a bunch of moss berries so I can get the Druid's Eyes, which is a tool that gives me 2 silk whenever I get hit twice, so basically a silk a hit. And lastly, I pick up the magnetic dice and blasted steps to give me a small chance of dodging attacks. And then, it's back to the grind. Let's go! That was one of the hardest things I have ever done. Wow. Whew. Please, give me your melody. Just give me your melody, man. Just give me the melody. So that may not have seemed like a lot, but that was almost 3 hours of fighting one arena. Now we can finally go back to where we fought Clockwork Dancers to play the threefold melody. Alright, this video's gone on long enough, I think, so here's the winning attempt from Lace 2. She was one hit away. If I didn't miss that other one. Okay, that would have been heartbreaking to lose, but there we go. Now with Lace done, we can go on to the final boss, Grandmother Silk, who immediately kicks our ass. Twice. Now here's the thing, I had already collected all 3 cog art pieces and activated the second sentinel prior to this, to try to get the reserve bind for the High Halls arena, but it seems you cannot get that quest until you have all 3 melodies. But now that we do, we go do some quests in Enclave to open it up, and there it is, the final audience, which lets us go back into High Halls to fight the second sentinel. And it absolutely destroys me. I mean, of course it does, are you kidding me? But fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, fuck you, I don't know. But there we go. That wasn't too bad at all. And now we have the reserve bind, which lets us get a free heal at any point, which will help a lot for Grandmother Silk. And speaking of which, let's just go ahead and skip to the winning attempt. Let's go! Let's go! That's the end! Spam that bind button. And there it is. This was an incredibly hard challenge for obvious reasons, but it was also really fun, since using only the harpoon made me adapt and learn some really cool combat techniques, and allowed for some very interesting aerial combat too. So yeah, that was Silksong beaten using only the harpoon for damage. Except, was it?
Oh!